Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us here on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic AMINAH. Today, we're going to be discussing drinking water from plastic bottles, what we need to know. First of all, I want to say a big hello and welcome back to all of our followers on our radio channels, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, et cetera, et cetera. We're so happy to have you with us. And also hello to our new followers on Instagram, and a big hello to all of our followers who've been with us as we come up to our second year anniversary celebration on Sunday. Who's been with me this entire time? It's Pet Psychic AMINAH. Let's welcome her to the show. Hello.
I'm better than a puppy.
Look how you seem pretty there. I love your background. You look so festive and happy.
I love photography. This is not one of my original works, but the work I do with different artists.
Very, very attractive. I like it a lot. So I just was sharing, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. You've been here since the beginning. And just like those flowers in that field behind you, I've seen an incredible blossoming of you and just so much growth and just professionalism that you've always had because you are a public speaker. But working with someone, we get to know each other and find our way through. And I'm going to say, ta-da, we made it.
Absolutely. And it's all your fault. Just putting a show together is a Herculean amount of work. And then the commitment you had and said, hey, no, we're going to do this together. My biggest concern is that I bring my A game, and I'm here to answer the questions that I think people won't have thought yet to ask, because that's how I really see prevention. Prevention is about, I'm a first responder. It comes naturally, all that AED and life-saving tools I've learned throughout. When you're working with wildlife, it's kind of essential that you know how to bandage somebody up, you know how to get out of the way, but you also know how to do the, bumps and scrapes. I'm lucky not to have broken too many bones, but it's really good stuff to know, and we're hoping we're sharing all that with you.
Absolutely. Every week, more information. And I just appreciate everything that you are an expert on in so many areas. And today, by the way, this topic came up to me because I was reading about how all these nanoplastics are now being found in plastic bottles containing water. And I have to tell you, I'm just going to be very upfront. Until I met you, I was getting cases of plastic water bottles delivered to me every week. I was.
Right.
And then after working with you and hearing what you had to say, I thought, you know what, this is not cool. I'm not doing this anymore. So now I have one of those bottles that you refill all the time. And yeah, you have it right there. And the interesting thing is you have to keep those things clean, which is a whole other subject. But let's talk about how the little pieces of plastic get into the bottles and then how they can actually go into our system and cause havoc. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I haven't looked at that direction too deeply because I think I'm terrified to know how much plastic I'm consuming because it comes in every form. You've got a wrapper on a sealed piece of meat. You're going to lay it on the grill. You've got cellophane on this. You got plastic on that. You got foil on this. We've got bread bags, and plastic is everywhere. And I sold Tupperware for years in my early motherhood days. It was a great shtick, and I had a company car and all that. But what I loved about having that plastic container as opposed to what we get today is Tupperware was meant to stay around for about 100 years. I promise. It's still in my house and I still use it and it's still great. But these are the choices you're making. Are you going to get a Ziploc bag, which is supposed to be single use? But if you're like me, you use it till it dies or it doesn't zip close. And or something else in between. We've got to come with sustainability. Is that not why we have it in the title? We really want people to know we're not preaching anything. We're just trying to get you to think in a creative way. So if you are going to use something and it's a one-time use, really, really think about it. I mean, really think about it. What can you do besides that? I love, and I'm going to use a really old term, and I hope it makes everybody laugh, I'm going to MacGyver it. Dr. Jacalyn, do you know this reference?
I do. MacGyver was a TV show.
Yeah, because if he, yeah, and he always, I think he was an MD, wasn't he?
I thought he was a detective. But
okay,
a
detective or something, where he was always trying to figure out things. I am known in my little small circle of not using things according to the way they were made for the manufacturer. For example, this you get in a jewelry shop or a craft shop, and you make jewelry, right? You put little beads in it, and it's supposed to be for beads, and it comes in a lot of size, and it gets a little tall. This has my vitamins and my pills for the day. And if I know that they're empty, guess what I know I also did? Add my all vitamins for today.
Yeah, that's smart. Very smart.
Well, yeah, and you would think this would be crazy. So you can't, there, now you can see it. So this is a piece of tape to hold, not hold the lid on, but crack the lid. What is going to get the most beat up? The lid, not the containers necessarily below. If I'm gone for 12 hours, or I used to do a lot of not only homework, meaning in people's homes, but I did a lot of conferences, lots and lots and lots of conferences. I actually won an award at one of those as a public speaker. So you need supplies, Excedrin and or bandages or water or whatever. This was my vitamins and medication for the day. So then I knew I took it and what time you took it. So I'm trying to give everybody an idea. You don't have to buy a pill box, which doesn't fit in any of our purses.
What's this?
Yeah, and I don't know you, but for me, I've lost the cartilage in my hands at this point, and I couldn't flip it up. But I can unscrew this, or I could ask somebody else to unscrew this, and or I can get really bored and start thinking I'm playing a banjo or something. Remember, outside the box, people be happy. Do just things we have to do in life don't have to be a drag, and don't have to be dragging on our emotions and our balance and our equilibrium on where we are in the world. You and I have had hair accidents and body accidents and all kinds of things just happen when you're walking through the day. For example, I'm getting ready to come into my studio area, and it's about an hour and a half ago. And guess what my neighbor was doing?
Mowing the lawn?
Drilling.
Ugh.
A utility panel, which is metal. So I went out to the repairman because he'd been doing it for hours already. And they'd left it open for the last 6 months to a year with, I don't know, plastic over it. And I went up and I said, I know you have a job. If you can, at noon and be done. And hopefully you guys can't hear anything because he did leave about 15 minutes ago. And now somebody's blowing leaves. But, we do what we can. Live.
I don't hear anything. And they're actually mowing the lawn outside. But I wanted to tell you, I taught spin class earlier today. I came home and this is what I saw.
Neat.
And I just looked up and I said, what say you? What say you, Mr. Dragon? What say you?
He said, son, I'm getting a tan.
Yeah, he's like, I'm getting some sun. he's literally the last iguana standing out there. So,
Wow, he must have eaten everybody, or at least
when
swapped them with his tail.
but let's go back to the plastic water bottles. So people will use plastic water bottles because it's convenient. You're
Right.
thirsty, you go into a store, what do they have? They've got plastic water bottles. You're thirsty and you want something. So I can understand this. What I found is the places I go now where I work out, they actually have water that's filtered. You
Great.
put it right into your thing. So if someone were to purchase, and I wish I had mine here, but you have yours, one of those containers. Mine actually has lines on the outside so that if you drink the whole thing, it's 32 ounces, you refill it.
Right. They're doing measurements a lot now. Mine have it. I don't think you can see it, but it's down here. Let me see if I can get in the camera. I never do this well. There
you go.
There. So you can see there is here where the backside is grip. It's all about.
Oh yeah, I see
you
that.
don't drop it out of your hand because this is full. This is
Yeah,
full.
I don't have
So
that.
it's decently weighted. So what I love is I have not had a water bottle without the measurements in the last 5 purchases. And you're wondering, why do I have 5 water bottles? Because I have a car and I have a house and I have a job, or I leave it somewhere at a meeting and it doesn't have my name on it.
So let me ask you this, because I had this conversation with some other people who also have the bottles. Apparently, if you just keep refilling it, okay, mine has a straw in it. It's got a straw and then the lid, but it can get moldy. It can get bacteria.
So every night, this one gets, this is my day one, and it's here on my office desk. And so the whole point is to drink it down to its emptiness by the end of the evening, or some point in there. But every day, I put it upside down in the drain, let it air out, and dry out. We don't need any more fungus in our lives. Nobody needs that doctor's appointment where they're hunting and searching, trying to figure out what's wrong with you, and it's the mold in your water bottle. So many people don't think about this part, not just where your mouth is, but where your mouth is the closest to the bottle. This is going to be your gucky plug. So, because the water eventually, as mine is lower now. So it's not in contact with this all the time, but it's wet and it's moist because I'm tipping the bottle or whatever. You need to remember, get a toothbrush. The dollar store sells a billion of them. You don't need a fancy one. You can get a bottle brush, but it might be a little bit rough and or too big, and they do make them small, so they get into small areas. But make sure every night when you go to bed that your water bottles are airing out. They need to dry. They need to dry. And it would be herculeanically a pain in the butt to take a towel and try to dry it all the way down. So I leave it out. I drink it all. I leave it out on the drain where we do hand wash a few of our dishes. Wash it, rinse it with soap if you really want to do that. That is always a good thing. And don't forget the mouthpiece. Don't forget where you drink. And that, especially mine, has a small space to drink from. So having a toothbrush, a child's toothbrush, you just go buy one and use that, or a bottle brush, and then let it dry out overnight. And you're good to go every day.
I love this idea. Thank you. I have an extra toothbrush. I'm going to use that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
You know, something else I think that people don't consider is when you take your water bottle with you, you put it down someplace, you put it down here, you put it down there, and that's dirty. I mean, who knows? It's just like not the same thing, but handbags. I can never understand this concept of taking your nice handbag and putting it on the floor. I don't get that at all. And then you're like, oh, you put it on your kitchen counter. No.
Yep.
No.
And you put it on your car seat and somebody else sat on it. And then, you know, you wonder where the gum on your butt came from.
Right.
We've all done it. We've all done it going, how did that happen? Exactly. And where did it go? You and I'm assuming this is correct for you. We carried not necessarily briefcases, but you know, I'm looking at mine across from my person, and it had my travel computer. It was one of the smaller ones. It had my bags, my books. I went off to the office. I did my thing. I came back. But if you have anything like a briefcase, a purse, a backpack, I don't care, whatever you're carrying, eventually you got to put it down. Eventually you got to put it down somewhere that you might not have thought is not like the picture behind me, beautiful in nature and all that. Somebody walked there. Somebody passed there. Somebody dropped trash there. Let me really drive home all these things. We don't wear shoes in our house. And that came about when I started converting to Islam, yes, but also being in places where they didn't let you wear your shoes in the house. And culturally, this is all over the world. People do it differently. We used to have a sign on our door. I know I would go to a friend's house and it says, please leave your shoes here. Everybody in the beginning was like, are they going to still be here? Especially when you're in a college town. I've yet to see a pair of shoes get stolen, but I'm sure it could happen. But they have a mat for the shoes. We bring in more dirt and crap on our shoes. I mean, if you don't know you have a gum on your shoes, where do you think you've been? You've been in your house. You've been walking around. Your bag is the same. Our purses are the same. Your shoes are the same. What you've touched. Keeping yourself well is not just about washing your hands. It's bigger than that.
By the way, I love what you're sharing, and I want to add to that. When I had my dogs, and again, for those who don't know, little picture, my little sweethearts, they all passed away. But when I had them, for the most part, they slept on the bed with me. And, you know, it's not until I got in a relationship and the guy's like, yeah, I don't
I don't share.
Yeah. But if you think about where a pet's paws are, and then they're on the bed, sometimes people put them in the bed.
Yes.
So we do everything we can. Like, I don't wear shoes in the house, but yet at the time, many years ago, I had the dog sleeping in the bed with me. It doesn't really make sense, does it?
Well, and there's choices. I want to advocate for the dog in the bed, which I never, ever done, because I had shepherds. They would take up the whole bloody bed. And we didn't have our dogs in the house. The hair and many other choices, culture and that type of stuff, it just wasn't a good fit. All our cats are full times indoors, because I'd like them to live longer and I can regulate. But I'm also the one, we have 3 litter boxes. We have 3 cats. Doesn't mean they all have their own. They don't. They just go wherever they happen to need to go. But I'm the one who's cleaning like at least 2 or 3 times a day, because again, they're walking around our house. We don't wear shoes. You got to have the balance of the fact that, okay, I'm going to leave my shoes at the door, but then I'm let my cat throw up and poop on the whatever ground, or they're going to go in their sandbox and they're going to come out. And what we do is we have it where they have to come out in slow pieces. And then we have a mat where their feet have to touch as if it was like a doormat, and they get that sand off little by little. Is it perfect? No. We have one little girl, and she is truly a little girl, even though she's our oldest, but she's so fluffy. Ren is so fluffy. So the sand sticks to her. So we're going to find sand. Again, we've got a low carpet and like a Berber, and you need to vacuum that type of stuff up for health of everybody. Is it consuming? Yeah, it's the same thing. If I would say, well, how much work did you think a dog would be, or a child, or a marriage, or buying your own house? Everything takes responsibility. I just want to hopefully point out these little things that really will make your life better, because you'll be healthier. People get sick from cleaning cat boxes. How do they do it? Well, it seems like a million ways, but you either didn't wash your hands afterwards and you came in contact with the feces directly. And they have scoops with different lengths of handles. So, and if it really, technically they have ones where they go out and they have it underneath the dog's butt because they're testing them for if you've seen a vet do this, I have. It's on like a broomstick. It looks like it's not wood, and they have a cup at the bottom. Well, because they take the dog out and say, I need a urine sample, please. So there are things out there you can buy. This isn't exclusive to this industry. In this day and age, Google it, and you'll find a million ways to accomplish different things. I always picked up after my pets, because what you don't realize, and we could do a whole show on, is their food is not biodegradable. It'd be the same thing as you and I going out and going to the bathroom and saying, yeah, the bushes will take care of it. No. And then you figure, just in my one block of neighborhood, there's 4 dogs. And one of them's fairly new. And today, I think, is the only day ever in 3 months that he hasn't barked all day. And I haven't seen him personally, but he barks like a Saint Bernard. Big dog. In a condo.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But to your point about the animal waste, my little friend who's not so little, who's out there, Mr. Dragon, in the front, I just had someone out to help clean up. There was a lot of feces out there. What do you do with it, by the way? And now there's a ton of feces again. It's kind of annoying because it doesn't go away, as you said.
Not that animal, no, because it's very liquidy, right? You still got a little pile.
It has that, but then maybe it's not from that. There's also like solid, but when the dragon, when the dragon goes, it can have like white and I don't know, whatever.
Right, because the way their body digests, and they are eating crickets, and they are eating bugs, and they're eating all of these types of things. So some tips where there is the no-come zone, no zone, wherever. When my children were very small, I didn't want our dog or any other dog, and we had a cat problem. Our neighbor's cats kept coming over and pooping in our yard. That is not fun. I wanted to take off cat poop off, or any natural poop I get off of my kids when they're done playing, because that just sounds great. And my worry is, of course, they put their hand down and they don't see it, and then it's on their face, and all kinds of diseases are going to be introduced to small children. What you can do is try some deterrents. And the simplest one, I'm sure I've told you, we've been together for so long, but everybody who's listening, chili powder. If you have Costco, if you have Smart and Final, and you actually know what that is, these are bulk stores where you buy a big giant, lots of them, like lots of flour for every 900 pies you're going to make. What chili powder does is, first of all, it's not going to hurt your plants. I don't know of any plants that will be hurt, so do check if you have something precious. But what you're doing is, because it is from earth, it is spice, it grows on a plant, so it's plant-based. And what I would do is sprinkle it. Now, I had to do this every day for at least 6 weeks on the cat issue. For the ones that were coming in spraying, and my cats were fixed. They didn't care. They were spraying everywhere. Dogs coming in to poop. If you've ever seen your animals go to the bathroom, they smell it out first. I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know what the criteria for a good poop place is, but sometimes it's just a go. Chili powder is going to irritate their nose. You're not having them sniff up a ton. So you have to be careful. We're not here to burn their nose, because it is possible. It's not probable, but it is possible. But put something down. Garlic, I have found, is not strong enough, where the chili powder is offensive to them. And then they go, oh, I'm not going there. And what I ended up doing, it took me a few months, and I ended up getting them herded this way. So I put the chili powder here and then a little bit out. And anyway, so my grass would also adapt, and I didn't have any problem with burned grass or anything, because again, I'm not putting piles. I'm putting it out like flour, like the continuity of flour and salt and all that type of stuff.
So wait, so how much you got the shaker of the chili powder? How much? Yep. And where do you put it?
You want to see it. Let's say you're doing the grass. Okay, we're doing like the green behind you, minus the flowers behind me are way too dense. You can try it. It is possible, but you can see you could get it on the flowers and the top leaves, but nothing below. Right. So if you're dealing with somebody who's digging below, you're kind of out of luck. So remember, look at what you're looking for. That's why I use grass as a great idea. Sand, dirt, any of that kind of stuff. Now, don't put it on the sidewalk. That's probably a public place. If you have a sidewalk, it's probably more than you going there. And God forbid you put tons and somebody slips and anything like that. What we're trying to go for is a fence. And I don't mean the fence. I mean to offend them. We want to get them. Animals are driven by their emotions and by their senses, number one. ears, eyes, nose, tail, licking things. They figure out the world all through that way. All of it. Their eyes and their mouth and their ears, taste buds. When you make a place unhospitable for them, which is what the powder will do, they eventually go, yeah, this isn't worth that flower. This isn't worth whatever. And the chili powder, 9 times out of 10, I've never actually seen it happen. But again, I'm not doing everybody's plants. I'm not doing everybody's place. I've never seen it burn the plants. And when you water and when it rains, you got to do it all over again because it's just going to wash away, which is perfect, We don't need something there 24/7, 365 days a year. But I'll tell you, at these bulk stores, you can get a whole lot of this and then just sprinkle it out there. You can do it off your hands. You can do it off of, if anybody even owns these anymore. Do you remember we used to have the sifters? And I know there's one for garden food that they sell in garden place that you can roll thing. I think the powder is going to be a little thin for that. It's more pellets in that. But remember, all you have to do is put it on a little serving spoon or whatever and shake it out on to the area that they are in, and maybe pushing them back to where you'd like them to be. It's not permanent. It's not forever. I'm not giving you any ideas that this is going to solve all things, but it's really going to slow things down and at least deter them from eating your plants or whatever the problem is that you're having with them.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I'm looking out onto hedges, and the hedge is at a point where the dragon can jump from the hedge to the roof. So that's where I need to, and it's shared with neighbors. So if they would agree, then we could. But so we'll have to
either removing the hedge altogether, or boxing it, but that will give them jumping space that are easier. If you create a ramp, then it gives easier. Now, don't they have not the plastic spikes, but the more heavier duty? They might still be plastic, but they're pretty strong. Is that something they still do on the roofs for your guys' issue?
No, apparently what I was told was that somehow the dragons are able to adapt, and it's not something that stops them. I'm at the point now when I saw the guy up on the roof, I know he wants some sun, he or she,
right,
and wants something to eat. I get it, but please stop pooping everywhere. I mean, poop yourself somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. And I noticed that its tail, we have an atrium, and where the atrium is connected to the roof, there's a space now because they've dug in there. And so I saw its tail was in there, and I thought, okay. But anyway, I like this idea of the chili powder. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And
it's offensive without killing anybody.
Yeah, exactly. I just have to figure out how to get it on there without it blowing into the wind.
Make it a paste. If you're dealing with something that isn't wet yet, like grass tends to be on moist side. Somewhere, anywhere, even in the desert where my mom had grass, we would have moisture. Right. And you don't want to do it right after the sprinkle, like the sprinklers, or right after the rain, because it's chili powder. It's gone. Right. So you want to find that first morning dew, right? And you can put it on a little heavier maybe because you've got the water that's going to absorb some, but guess what the water's also going to do? Going to make it a paste. Now, it's not as great to sniff up. So you have to find that gradual place. Where does it keep its powder consistency so it can be smelled and going, oh, this is bad, meaning they think the whole ground is bad. They're not picking out, ooh, somebody put chili powder down here. That's not usually. Now, there's all animals are smart enough to say, you went out there, you spread something, and then it's bad. So then they stay away for 4 days until the rain or your sprinklers takes care of it. It is possible that they will figure it out. I'm trying to give you those short-term things that you can grow with that don't kill anybody, but most of us have access to something simple. You can go to, for birds now, all these aviary stores are wonderful. They have the plastic spikes. So what did you say? Didn't you say last year that they didn't work or they broke them all off or that didn't work for your roof?
You have to get permission from the association, and from what I understand from when the iguana master came out, he said that it's not going to stop them.
They're so big, they could just walk over.
So big.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
figure it out. And apparently, I don't know how far they can jump, but I think I told you the big one, the king knocked the little green one, wasn't little, knocked it literally off the roof and the thing jumped right back up again. I was like, wow, it's like one of those things for kids, the bouncy
Right.
houses.
Bouncy castle.
Yes.
Well, and that's why you don't want to put a horn up, because you'll stay up all night. You know, people have tried the floodlights where they rotate. With animals specifically, just think about their life. It's all about hunt or be hunted. It's all about who's got the best den, gets the best girl, gets the next generation in their DNA. The survival of the fittest is absolutely king. So we small little humans in our pettiness and or our wants and not wants are the gardens we want. We have a microscopic amount of tools and creative thoughts compared to the animals we're dealing with. So I know you've tried a lot of things, and it's always going to be, I don't care if you're an ant or if you're a lizard or the mosquitoes. I don't even want to tell you about the mosquitoes I've done in Alaska. They are really big. And somebody said, try Skin So Soft from Avon. And I'm thinking, you want me to try baby oil that has perfume in it with mosquitoes? It actually worked. It actually worked. But I put it on a cotton ball, put it back, here, and made sure I stunk enough. But you had to keep putting it on. And it really kind of mucks up your clothes after a while.
Yeah, and you kind of get sick of your own smell.
Yeah, I know. You're like, no more of that. It's like your favorite perfume that just turned into your worst. It's the same thing with if you eat too much of your favorite food. You not only are 900 pounds bigger, but you're just disgusted with that food.
You get tired of it. It's true.
Yeah.
But one thing we can't get tired of is water, because water is extremely important. And I've found more and more, at least I would say since the pandemic, I used to drink a lot of, I hate to give the brand, but I will, Diet Snapple. I mean, I would have 2 or 3 of them a day. And no offense, Diet Snapple, but if you look at the label,
can you name all those ingredients?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, even a dictionary would be tough.
No, they're all again, I don't work for them, but disclaimer, I don't know what they are. Yeah. So I had gone to the doctor for a physical, and I said that I was drinking this, and she said, do you realize how much caffeine is in there? And I really didn't. So after that, I stopped drinking caffeine. It's got to be 5 years now. But so I drink water all day, water. And that's not something that we can ever live without. In fact, you can live a certain amount of time just with water.
Right. As opposed to you can go without food.
Yes.
You got to have water. And because of how we are put together. But guess what? So is the planet. That's why this catastrophic lifestyle we have all had, I am culpable. We all are culpable of something that has caused us to actually kill the planet we live on. This is the whole point. We can do better. Bugs bother us? Great. Don't buy Raid, because it's going to kill a whole lot of things besides the bug you don't like. Get a fly swatter with a really long, arm or something. But there's other ways to handle things that don't kill everything, and including the people. We always talking about how did the cancer rate go up so quickly? Remember, this is such old history I haven't gone through, but when people were really, really getting cancer, and it was World War I and II, somewhere in there, it was just being shown everywhere. And we've got bombs, and we had this chemical and that chemical, and people were manufacturing it, but they were coming out in the pipes. So anybody who left within 20 miles of a manufacturing plant, it was all over my history books that in college, of talking about how many lives were lost, and tragically, gruesomely, with the cancer and skin falling off. And we're doing better, but we can continue to do better.
We can. And by the way, I've heard some people say, just kind of offhandedly, oh, we could move to the moon, or we could go to Mars.
And just kill that one too? No, it's half dead already. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
We've already visited.
It's not what we have here, that's for sure. So,
Well, and how I want to say it this way, so I apologize to anybody if it sounds rude. How dare us? How dare us think that we can kill whatever we want, we can break whatever we want, we can massacre all the animals. We don't like that one because they're eating our flowers, but you realize that's a keystone animal person style, that's their job, is to keep it managed. And yet we're going to just hop, skip, and jump over to where? If we learn nothing, we just rinse and repeat.
that's exactly right. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And it comes down to, it's like when you take a prescription drug, which I have to take,
Yep.
you have to take, and people are always like, well, you don't know. We do.
We do.
We've tried other things. We've tried holistic. But if you don't get to what the root cause of the issue is, then you're never going to be able to solve it. It's sort of just like a Band-Aid. So that's what's going on in the planet. People are just looking the other way and thinking, oh, she'll fix it, he'll fix it, they'll fix it. And that's not the case. And I think also, when I think about this friend here, this friend was probably living in some other environment that then became overrun with houses and had no place to go.
Right. You're absolutely right. Every bit of construction decimates some species or old knowledge, meaning if you have 100-year-old lizard and then you've got all these babies and all the types of things, who's teaching them? Mom and dad, grandpa. What other animals are around? They saw Uncle Bill get picked up by an eagle and he's gone. They don't know what gone, but they know it's forever. So they go, I might want to stay away from that big fly thing. We are not doing enough. And there's always going to be that gap. I'm not blaming anybody, saying we're all not doing enough work. I'm doing it, you're doing it. I post it on all of my social media stuff, is learning, educational, and funny, and all of it. Because I really, truly believe, and Dr. Jacalyn, the way you run this show, I have to believe that you are my compadre in this, as with so much else. We teach with love and compassion and knowledge. And then we leave it to you to act.
Exactly. And as I've mentioned just today, the toothbrush, I'm taking that for the water bottle, the chili powder. I mean, these are really good suggestions that you continue to give over and over again. And as I mentioned, they've been life-changing to me. As you know, and I've said this before, I used to use hairspray. I used to burn candles. I could go on and on, all the things I've stopped doing. Those makeup one-use towelette.
Yep, that never biodegrade, by the way.
Right. Where do they go?
Well, landfills. I mean, if you really want to go visit the land of the dead, you just go to a landfill. And I, as a kid, I don't know if you did it, but my mom would go there and we would scavenge things, and she would refurbish them or something. I mean, it wasn't an always thing, but the couple times I went, is like, wow, this is cool. But I was a kid. Right. Everything was cool.
Well, I can tell you, at least for the Florida Turnpike that goes from, I don't know, I guess Miami up to wherever, when you're on your way north toward Orlando, there's a landfill on the left. And
I was going to say, how's it smell there, Doctor?
I'll tell you what, you can smell it for, I don't know how far away. Miles. The vultures are all over the place. You know,
food. And somebody opened the wrapper.
Yeah, and you think about it, I don't know where the landfill started, but it's pretty big. I mean, it's like a huge mountain of crap.
Well, and they just they bring in the tractors and the dirt movers and everything, and then turn it over. And the hope and the plan is to get it to biodegrade. Now, I know they have introduced chemicals years ago. I don't know if they're still doing it. I know they're trying to do better, because all those birds, all of those animals, that come for, to check it all out because we got this smelly free food. Think about this. You ate a taco at whatever taco stand and you got the taco sauce or the meat juice or whatever on the paper and you threw it away. That's our responsibility. Get it in the trash can. Well, when it gets to the landfill, it still smells like that to the animals. And they're like, cool, I want to know what this is. So they're eating garbage and they're also getting killed because there's only so much the guys in bulldozers can scare them away. And we've got every kind of bird, depending on where your landfill is, going there for dinner or lunch, and then they teach their babies to do that. There's got to be a better way. And I know the science is still working on it. We're not out here by ourselves. But if people in general, me, you, Dr. Jacalyn, just people in general, don't make better choices, not only what we buy, how we dispose of the container, then we're not doing our part to support. If it can be recycled, recycle it. I hate seeing like soda cans and bottles and all of that kind of stuff. I'll go to parties and parks and I'm the one who will go get a separate bag and pull them all out. And then guess what? I come home with $5 later and I get to go shopping at the dollar store, whatever that is. But it didn't end up in a landfill when it could have ended up in a recycle center, which their whole mission is to recycle.
And recycle, we will. And on another
We
episode,
must.
we must.
We're being
Exactly.
nice. We really must. You're totally correct, Dr. Jacalyn, by picking this topic. We must. And we must support each other and help each other, not degrade each other. That doesn't get us anywhere. Just help them and say, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Or I know a neighbor and I can not always go to the recycle center, but I have a bigger car than she has and whatever, and we can do it all together.
And you know what? I really want us to collectively look into this. I want us to invite someone who's an expert on recycling who could actually walk us through the process, because
Great.
I've had numerous people tell me, oh, it doesn't actually go anywhere. It's sitting in a landfill. So I'd like to understand, when they pick it up from the curb, where does it go? What does the process look like? I think that would be really valuable.
And you're 100% correct. I just saw a flyer card come by, and I don't know who put it out, but again, they're mentioning that, yeah, you can recycle all you want, but it's not actually going where. When we first started this, you probably remember, especially in the early 80s, it was really becoming much more something everybody wanted to do. For me, I was in college. I wanted the money. I already bought the can. I wanted the money. So that was where my motivation started. But then in these last 5 or 10 years, I've heard the same thing. There's no reason to go to the recycle center because they're not melting them down anymore. It's not feasible. So we need to figure out where that's going. And that's something that I'll really look forward to researching this week. Thank you.
Sure, me as well. And something else I just wanted to add to it is, I know the giant tail is hanging down.
I was like, who do you see? I can see her face light up and go, oh, I know you. Talking about me? Yes, I'm talking about you.
I know that where I am, that certain times of the year is the large items, furniture pickup.
Yes.
And I always wonder, where does it go? So I had somebody come out here. I had some furniture that we decided we were going to get rid of. And, you actually have to pay people to come and get it. If you can't sell it yourself on various things. And the guy came out and he said, oh, they just pick up the furniture and they give it to Goodwill, or they sell it. They don't actually break it down. They give it to someone. I was like, oh,
but that's a great choice too.
Yeah, why not?
As opposed to what we're talking about with the aluminum. They crush it up and then it goes into a box, becomes a square, and they do what with it? Supposedly, we were told that they're melting them down because it's aluminum and using them for other things. I love that I have heard what you're talking about on like the 9 o'clock news a couple of years ago. And these places were saying, we're going to pick up whatever you don't want. Like you could put a bag of clothes out, and it was the Goodwill or some other nonprofit that came and got it. And they would put it in their store if it was like furniture. or a painting or art or books. And clothing, only some of it, they had rules on the clothes because they couldn't take things that were clean, not clean, or needed to be laundered or something like that. And then I heard one organization, they got a whole laundry system going and washed all the clothes because, you know, they're worried about disease and somebody sweat in this and just threw it in the hamper. There's a lot we can do. And if you guys know what's going on, send Dr. Jacalyn and us a message. We want to learn, we want to grow, and we want to support what's happening out there.
Yes, we do. And you and I will collectively look at having someone from the recycling industry here for one of our programs. I know you've got another guest or two who are coming on. If anybody wants to join us and you have a topic that's in the area of coexistence and sustainability, we'd love to hear from you. So Pet Psychic AMINAH, that is the end of our event for today. It's super exciting seeing you in the beautiful weather. Maybe we'll have to switch to that. I don't know.
I don't know. I like yours. It's less busy.
Well, thank you. What are your final words for today that you're going to leave people with? Some people it's Friday, some people it's Saturday, some people it's winter, it's summer. It's what do you want to say?
First and foremost, be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up for what you haven't done. Just do it. Make a plan and make a change. If that is asking forgiveness of somebody, we all say things we shouldn't. I have learned that so much this year that it didn't make me a lesser person when I went to a family member and or just a person I'm dealing with in the moment and said, hey, that wasn't correct. I should have said or could have done. And then you let it go and you grow. It is possible for us all to coexist and not have to necessarily understand each other completely. But what I've learned being a part of not only the Middle Eastern culture through marriage and so many other cultures, because I'm well-traveled, is just because somebody does it different doesn't make it wrong. It could be the best slice of toast you ever had if they butter on the wrong side. And that's supposed to be a joke because bread has two sides of bread. You can butter them on any side you want. Be good out there. Know you're loved. And if you want to see us cover a topic, please reach out to Dr. Jacalyn or myself.
Thank you, my dear friend. I really enjoyed this episode as always, and I wish you a beautiful weekend. And as we close out, our 2-year anniversary is coming up on Sunday. I know you can't make it, but maybe you'll send in a video. I'll talk to you about it. So you can just say hello to everyone. And again, thank you to all of our new followers on the radio as well as video. And thank you to the people who've been with us from the very beginning. We really do appreciate you. And we wish you a beautiful weekend. We'll see you again next week with another topic. Bye for now.